Have you ever wondered why the Netherlands isn't flooding? Of course you have. It's a pretty amazing place, with all those canals and dikes and windmills. So how do they keep the water out? Well, stay tuned for the fascinating story of why the Netherlands isn't flooding, even though much of the country is below sea level. Historical context. The Netherlands is a small country on the North Sea, located in Western Europe. It is bordered by Belgium to the south and Germany to the east. The Netherlands has a long history of battling floods due to its low-lying land and numerous rivers. In 1953, a severe flood swept through the Netherlands, killing nearly 1,000 people and damaging or destroying thousands of homes. The Dutch government responded by constructing a series of dikes, dams, locks, and levees to protect against future flooding. However, in recent years, there have been increasing concerns that climate change will cause more frequent flooding events in the region. The current Dutch government has responded by investing heavily in flood defense technology, such as levees made from sandbags filled with water taken from canals or seawater pumped into large storage tanks built behind them. These are designed to provide emergency protection against tidal surges, like those caused by Hurricane Sandy in 2012. The 1953 North Sea Flood. In 1953, the North Sea flood devastated the country of the Netherlands. The flood, which lasted for months, caused widespread damage and loss of life. It also served as a wake-up call for Dutch leaders who had previously ignored warnings that their country was vulnerable to flooding by sea. The Netherlands is an extremely low-lying country, with about half of its land below sea level. Because of this, the Netherlands has been vulnerable to tidal flooding since it was first settled centuries ago. But in 1953, a series of storms combined with high tides and strong winds caused unprecedented flooding throughout the country. The floods were so severe that they washed out entire villages and killed thousands of people. Afterward, Dutch leaders realized that they could no longer ignore their vulnerability to flooding if they wanted to protect their citizens from future disasters like this one. They began building dikes around major cities and towns along rivers, where flooding was most likely to occur, including Amsterdam and Rotterdam, and raising them even higher than before to protect against future floods. Formation of the Delta Committee. The Dutch government responded to the flood disaster of 1953 by creating the Delta Committee. The committee's mission was to develop a plan to safeguard the Netherlands from future flooding. The committee's report, published in 1957, called for a massive engineering project, the construction of a series of dams and barriers that would prevent flooding from future storms. This project came to be known as the Delta Works. The construction of these dams was an enormous undertaking that required collaboration between engineers, architects, politicians, and environmental activists. In order for this project to succeed, all parties had to work together towards a common goal, keeping their country safe from future flooding. The Delta Plan was a massive investment in the Dutch landscape. It was designed to protect the Netherlands from flooding and sea level rise, and it was estimated to cost 2 billion guilders, equivalent to 6.5 billion euros today. The plan included building dams and dikes, as well as creating new land out of the sea. The Netherlands was already a low-lying country, so this project wasn't just about protecting against floods, it would also help protect against rising sea levels. The Delta Works are a series of dams, sluices, and storm surge barriers along the Dutch coast that were built over several decades, beginning in the 1950s. The idea was to protect the country from the North Sea and its raging tides, which have been responsible for nearly 1,000 deaths since 1953. The goal of this project was to prevent future disasters like what happened in 1953, when a storm surge caused floods that killed 1,835 people and destroyed nearly 50,000 buildings. The Dutch government knew it could not rely on traditional methods of construction. So instead, they created a plan based on shortening their coastline by 100 kilometers, 62 miles. They built over 200 kilometers, 124 miles, of new dikes and dams with massive concrete structures called Phoenix caissons, which were prefabricated off-site and then sunk into place using cranes mounted on barges. This method made it possible to build these structures quickly efficiently, and cost-effectively, while also allowing them to be customized on site, depending on local conditions like sea level rise or subsidence rates due to sedimentation or erosion within the river channel itself. As the world's population grows and becomes increasingly urbanized, it is becoming more difficult to balance flood protection with environmental preservation. Innovative solutions are needed to address environmental concerns that arise due to closing off freshwater and saltwater ecosystems. The environment can be protected by using a strategy called managed retreat. This strategy involves moving people away from vulnerable areas and relocating them in safer areas. By using this strategy, it is possible to restore natural ecosystems while maintaining a high level of flood protection. The Delta works are designed to last forever. They were built to protect the Netherlands from the sea, and they've been doing a great job at it for decades. With minimal maintenance and few changes since their completion, these structures have helped keep the country safer than ever. The problem is that sea levels are rising, and climate change is making it more difficult to predict how fast they'll rise in the future. These challenges mean we need to adapt our strategies as we go along, which means updating our infrastructure accordingly. So there you have it. The Netherlands has a long history of working to stay above water. They've had to make some tough choices along the way, but they've always made them with the safety of their citizens in mind. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if you have any questions or thoughts about what we covered today, please let us know in the comments below.